Hi, welcome to my channel. I hope you're all doing great. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how contraception basically ruined my skin. This is a bit taboo. This is not to slam contraception as a whole. I think contraception is really useful, really revolutionary for thousands, millions of women all across the world, and it's basically been a game changer in the way that we can have more control over our fertility. Also really useful if you deal with like horrible side effects like painful periods and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm not bashing contraception. This is my personal experience with what happened with me when I was using it and how it impacted my skin. So I've not planned this video, I'm just basically winging it. So if I seem to like waffle or go off in a completely different direction, please do bear with me. But I hope you can basically gain an understanding of where exactly I am coming from. If you're new to my channel, hello to you. I hope you're doing great. Have a look around at my other videos, see if anything is there that you might find useful or helpful to know about. My channel is basically everything to do with like dermatology and aesthetics, because that's an area that I am really like passionate about and interested in. So yeah, do have a look around, do explore, subscribe to my channel if you know you do like the content that I'm trying to be consistent with. Returning subscribers, hello to you too. Thanks for bearing with me. I know it's been a really big gap, but you know, lots has been going on. I'll do another video on that like when I get the chance. It's so hot in the UK right now, so I might look a little bit dewy, but yeah. So it wouldn't be my video if I'm not drinking a hot drink. So today I've got my little Ibiza cup and I'm just having a coffee with like a splash of milk. Okay, so I'm back and I'm blonde. They say blondes have more fun. No, I'm joking. But no, honestly, I love this hair colour. I used to have this hair colour a couple of years ago, and I find that it really brings out like my skin, and it kind of like complements my eye colour as well because my eyes are quite brown. So yeah, I just thought I'd tap back into that. But enough about that. So I'm Misstlindo, I'm a student nurse, and I'm also a qualified advanced aesthetic practitioner and facial and skin massage therapist. However, due to like the demands of my course, etc., I'm currently not practicing, but I do know quite a lot about the field. So that's basically what my channel is dedicated to, everything dermatology and aesthetic related that I find interesting, and I hope you guys could find interesting and gain some knowledge from, some little nuggets of like wisdom and information that you can take forward and making decisions about your skin and aesthetic procedures in future. Okay, so like I said, this video isn't to like bash contraception at all in any way. Okay, so contraception is quite revolutionary in basically helping women to, I guess, gain a sense of autonomy over their bodies, I would say. I believe it gained a lot of traction, particularly between like the 60s era, where there was a lot of like women's rights movements and stuff that was quite dominant in taking place like throughout the country and across the world. So contraception, there's various types of contraception. I used to work in sexual health as well, so I'm trying to go off my background knowledge, but yeah, there's a variety of methods. So you can take pills, there's a patch, you can have a coil, and there's also the depot injection as well that is used. So there's a whole variety of methods of contraception. So contraception, it can be hormonal or non-hormonal. It's commonly taken in the form of hormonal, and this basically tricks your body into thinking that you're pregnant so that you stop bleeding basically. With non-hormonal methods, it's slightly different. For women that are like sexually active, the non-hormonal methods, particularly in the form of the IUD, this basically attacks sperm. So when the sperm enters through the cervix, the copper will basically the sperm can't survive around the copper, so that will stop you from getting pregnant. But with hormonal methods, as mentioned, it can trick your body into thinking you're pregnant, and I believe there's another way as well, but I don't know off the top of my head, and I don't want to say it and give you like the wrong information. So contraception, it doesn't necessarily have to be used if you are trying not to get pregnant. It can be used if you suffer from excruciating periods, which is the reason why I went on it. Contraception can also be used to basically help alleviate acne. Due to the hormonal component of this, it can basically help to balance out the hormones that are being produced, such as estrogen, that can make your skin a lot more oily, and then this oily can therefore build up the ducts within your skin and cause acne, like painful acne. So contraception can be used for that. It can also be used as well if you just don't want a period. Some people don't want kids, that's fine, or they won't be having kids for the next couple of years, so it helps to deal with that. If you're over the age of 50 or you're going through the menopause, contraception can help to alleviate the symptoms of the menopause as well, which can be quite distressing for a lot of women. So when you think of contraception, don't necessarily think of it as like, okay, this person's like active and they're just not trying to get pregnant. There's a variety of methods that contraception is useful for. If you do want to find some more information on this and you are in the UK, I obviously recommend the NHS website. There's also patient info, and there's another website as well. It's a family planning based website, and I'll put the links in the description below so you can have a bit more of a read up about it and make your own decisions as to whether it is for you or not. So with that being said, that's a little bit of a background on contraception. My opinion personally, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's really a good thing. I think it's quite useful as well in a lot of the things that it can help to control. So the reason why I went onto contraception was basically because, one, I wasn't too happy with the way that my skin was looking. I had a lot of fungal acne, I now realised, and I believe that going on the pill would help to alleviate that. Also, the reason why I went on it was because I basically suffered from really like crippling periods. So I thought it would be more better for me to basically take the pill rather than having to take strong painkillers every month, which come with horrible side effects that your body can get used to and a whole bunch of other things. So I decided that I would give it a try. For a long time, I was actually really against it, mainly because I wasn't keen on the idea of altering my body's natural state through a pill. You know, I basically tricking my body into something that it shouldn't be doing, and I just found that really not right. Like I wanted to basically stick to like natural methods, not mess my body up in any sort of way. So for many years I basically put contraception off. So like whilst I was in college, I had quite a lot of friends that had like the implant, which I forgot to mention, the implant, or they were taking like the injection, and me personally, I just didn't agree with it per se, me personally. So that all changed, what month we're 2022, that all changed in 2019, when I was working in sexual health. So when I was working in sexual health, obviously I'm coming across a lot of women that are using contraception, and I found it kind of sparked my interest to want to read into it more. And as I was working really closely with a lot of doctors and nurses and really like specialist doctors like within the whole like UK, it just made me want to press for more questions and more of an insight into this. So I made use of that and basically done a lot more research, and a lot of the leaflets and things we were providing in the clinic, I would basically use this to help me form a guidance as to whether it's what I wanted to do or not, and also speak with the clinical practitioners about it. So I think 2019 was the first time that I basically started this whole contraceptive journey. So the first pill that I went on, it was a combined pill option, and it was a pill called Misstlindo. So Misstlindo is a combined pill. It's quite similar to microgynon, and it basically kind of just goes by a different name. It's, yeah, a bit like paracetamol. You know, you've got paracetamol that come under different brand names. It's basically kind of like that. It's like the starter pack combined contraception pill. So anyway, I was on Misstlindo, and I took it for maybe like a month, and within this month I basically became really grumpy, like really upset, really grumpy. I felt like I couldn't be happy, and it was really strange. I can sometimes be grumpy, like everyone can, but this was a different thing that I was dealing with. It kind of felt like there was a ceiling to the amount of happiness that I could quite attain, and that wasn't very high at all. So within the month, I think I stopped. I didn't have a period that month, obviously because of the hormones and stuff, but within that month I basically decided that it's not for me, so I just stopped taking it. And then the next year I thought maybe I should give it a try. So I thought that I would basically give it a try again. So then I was prescribed Misstlindo again because I didn't take it long enough the first time. So I thought maybe it just takes time for, you know, the symptoms to settle and stuff like that. So I basically took it again for a longer period of time. I believe it was 2 months this time. And it was basically affecting my mental health still. And it was a lot for me to deal with as someone that has a history of suffering with some mental disorders. So it was really like a big risk for me, and I felt that the practitioner felt like as well, as if you do suffer with mental disorders and your pill or contraception or whatever begins to affect your mood, that can, you know, cause a lot of really like scary problems. So I basically stopped taking it then. So then after that same appointment, I was prescribed a different pill. So this time I was prescribed this, which is Marvelon. So this is similar to Misstlindo, and that it's just basically a different component of the, I believe, estrogen and progesterone balance. So the levels have been altered. I don't know this one 100% off by heart, but basically with combined pills, there's a different level of the estrogen and progesterone there. So this is a different ratio basically compared to the Misstlindo. So I started taking this and it worked really well for me, surprisingly. I don't say I enjoyed taking it, but it just worked out really well in a sense of my mental health was so much better. I was consistent with it. The only thing was around the time that my period was due, I would get like bad migraines and headaches, which I'll go on to in a bit. So I started taking Marvelon, and I was taking Marvelon for maybe I'd say 8 months. I took it for a really long time, and with this it helped my skin. So Marvelon helped my skin. It helped my skin tremendously in a sense of my skin became a lot more brighter. It looked a lot more, no, not a lot more, because my skin does look quite youthful, but I felt like it looked more, it gave an appearance of a slightly more youthful look, I would say, in regard to like the plumpness of my skin. And also the slight acne that I was dealing with, particularly within the forehead area, was reduced, mainly due to the oil production. My skin wasn't so oily, so it was a lot more manageable. And I just felt really happy with this. I was really content with taking this pill, and me personally, it worked for me. Don't run out asking for Marvelon just because I'm saying it. This is my personal experience. Everyone's body is completely different, so please bear that in mind. Okay, so I was taking Marvelon. Like I said, it helped my skin and, you know, the appearance of everything. My mental health symptoms weren't a problem at all. I wasn't having any breakout bleeds. The only problems I would have was the migraines around the time that my period was due. So I was taking this for around 8 months, and yeah, it worked really well. But then summer of 2021, when I was close to the period of transitioning from work to uni, I just suddenly like developed this panda appearance around my eyes. So around here, I don't even know if you can see it. So it's kind of like this if I just guide my finger around it. I started to develop a panda-like appearance. Okay, so this appearance was really, really new to me because I've never had a scar or pigmentation appearance such as that ever in my life. So the only pigmentation difficulties that I've had is when I've had maybe a spot and I've popped it and then it's left a scar behind, such as like that, for example. Those are the scars, hyperpigmentation marks, that I deal with. So this was completely new, out of the blue, and really random for me. Me personally, I remember very well one morning that I was going to work. I didn't put SPF, as much SPF as I would when I was going to work. And another thing was I wore my glasses to work. When I say glasses, I mean like spectacles. My glasses are anti-glare, but that's the only thing that I could think of at the time that caused literally the panda eyes. This is exactly what it looked like. It was just big circle like that. I still have it now. Like if I turn my head to the side like that, it's not as dark as it was before. But yeah, so I was going to work one morning. I wore my glasses, didn't put as much SPF as I usually would. So I thought maybe the UV rays somehow penetrated through the lens and the cold glare effect maybe caused a deeper sort of damage to my skin than it usually would. So this just randomly popped up and I thought, you know, it will go away. Maybe it's just that situation basically. So I was doing my usual skin routine in the morning and every other night using a really good retinoid and my step-free clear and stuff. And then I just noticed that it didn't really go away. Anyway, being patient with my skin and knowing that the whole cell cycle turnover can take, you know, between 3 to 6 months, I just wanted to be patient with it. But then I remember one morning I went downstairs, just making my breakfast like normal, and my mum like said to me, like, what happened to your face? You've got these dark circles around your eyes. And she was sort of guiding it on her face, like showing me. And although I knew it was there, I didn't think much of it. So then that's when I kind of realised that, okay, this is really noticeable and this is really strange. Then I started to put it down to maybe I'm not sleeping enough. Maybe it's my skin showing up from that. Maybe it's just dark circles from tiredness, stress and eye bags. And I basically just left it as that. Didn't put it down to anything other than myself, if that makes sense. So after 4 months or so, in November, I started my whole microneedling journey. And when I started my microneedling journey, I had an amazing aesthetic practitioner, highly qualified, been doing this for years. And when we was discussing everything, she looked at my skin and she goes, like, she pointed out the whole eye, the panda eye appearance. So then she was asking me my history, like if I've used like contraception before, and then that's when I said yeah, and immediately she knew. She was like, that's hormonal pigmentation that you have. So any sort of hormonal problems will often show up as around the eyes, giving you the butterfly look, the panda eye appearance. So that's when we basically realized that my contraception had obviously altered my hormones in a way that had begun to affect the pigment of my skin, hence the result that I basically had. So in that consultation, it was discussed that although I'm doing microneedling, it's not going to help me with that appearance that I had. And at that moment, I felt quite crushed because I spend a lot of money on my skin and trying to maintain it, and it felt like all the hard work, all the money I'd put in had basically reversed everything. So microneedling won't help. The skin pills could potentially make it worse. The only thing that I could do was go on to like an extensive program to basically bleach my skin to start again. And that's when I basically kind of like, I felt so crap. Yeah, so that was when I like felt really crap about everything. So in the end, I decided that I would consider this, you know, program to basically lighten the skin. And that was basically that, to be honest. So I went home with like that bit of information. I kind of kept thinking about it. And although I had been off the pill, so I stopped the pill that summer actually, and that's when it began to show up. As soon as it started to show up when I stopped taking it. I found it probably started to develop a bit before, but I find that once I stopped, that was when I guess noticed it a lot more. Yeah, so I went home with that information, knowing that I had an option, but it's a very costly option, or I could just basically wait it out and just be patient with my skin and wait for my skin to eventually turn it over, which will probably take a year or a good few years. And yeah, that was that really. I felt a bit bummed knowing that, you know, contraception could cause that, because prior to going into skin and going into the clinic I went to, I didn't know that hormones could affect your skin in such a way. And I feel like it's quite important to, you know, talk about this and raise a bit of awareness about this. Contraception is really popular, super popular, and it is a good thing. But if you are an acne sufferer, or you're someone who's very conscious about the appearance of your skin, it can be quite debilitating knowing that, you know, although you're helping one thing, you know, for, I guess, a short-term thing, the impact of that, potentially, depending on you, your skin type and your own physiology, could mean that you'll have a more long-term effect of that, which could be like the appearance that I have and had been suffering with. So that was basically how it ruined my skin and reversed all the progress that I made, that I'm having to deal with now at this current moment. So if it is a worry for you, what I would advise is when you are getting your method of contraception, do raise this idea with the doctor or nurse that you're speaking to and have a discussion about it. You have this information now, you have this awareness now, discuss it. The thing with contraception as well, it is a bit hit and miss. So what will work for someone else might not necessarily work for you. So it's a bit of trial and error. So again, if you are on or considering going on, just have this as a possibility that you could potentially have pigmentation issues to your skin whilst basically taking the hormone. All in all, although hormonal pigmentation is notoriously difficult to get rid of and can sometimes be permanent, there may potentially be an option for you. So if you're like me and it's something that you're currently dealing with or struggling with, I would recommend just popping into like a really good clinic, or maybe booking a GP appointment and sharing how you feel about your current predicament. And hopefully there will be an option, but it can be quite costly. So yeah, that's something to consider. So add that to your whole benefits and risks when considering contraception. And yeah, so I have to say as well that once I did stop taking the Marvelon, it was mainly due to my migraines, as the symptoms around the eyes were particularly mild around the time. So I didn't have that opportunity to actually discuss it with the doctor actually that I was seeing. So once I basically stopped Marvelon, I was prescribed this, and I can't say it, desogestrel, I think. And this is a POP, so progesterone only pill. And I didn't take it, so I can't give you an answer as to how I reacted to that. And yeah, that's basically all for the video, to be honest. So I just wanted to share with you guys my experience with contraception and how it impacted my skin, basically. What I'm going to do now and what I'm going to take forward, I'm going to be patient with my skin. It's not bothering me too much at this point, so I'm just gonna wait it out, just be patient. And if it gets to a point where it really does bother me, then of course I will take another route and I'll share that with you guys. But yeah, that was my experience and how it ruined my skin. So I hope you found this useful, just sharing my personal knowledge and experience. Again, I'm not bashing contraception. It's my personal experience that I'm entitled to share. So I hope you found this video useful. Subscribe to my channel, please share as well, share with all your girlies, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye.